everybody who is watching this video. I'm very happy to have you. My name is Olenjolai Moko TAYAI Losingo. Simply just call me Olenjolai. I'm from a beautiful country, eastern of the African continent, that call it Tanzania. This is our national flag. We love international students, and also we love our national students. I would like to welcome you, whether you're a parent or you are a student, or maybe you're guardians, or maybe you are you're friends, you're a brother, or maybe you're a student yourself who is watching this video. I would like to welcome you and pay your attention for some of the minutes, because I have a good news for you. So I would like to spend a few minutes just to give you a little introductions concerning about what are we doing and where are you and what should you expect, because we want you to be open-minded. Firstly, I would like to welcome you, all of the viewers, national and international viewers, into our online Diploma Polytechnic Institute of Tanzania in square bracket Olenjolai. Simultaneously, because I'm a teacher of mathematics, which I've been called by God, I would like to welcome you in one of our YouTube channel that's called the Online Diploma Poly Institute. This is the abbreviations of the two-word Polytechnic Institute of Tanzania in square bracket Olenjolai. So the next question now, what are we doing there? Because you have been welcomed, and then you say, I believe that in your heart, however that I don't see you, but you say that thank you for welcoming me. So let me take you inside. Remember that we are here in this world in order to solve problems. We are not here just to go to schools having formal educations or informal educations just for leisure. We are here purposefully within a limited time of life. So what the visions we have in Online Diploma Polytechnic Institute of Tanzania in square bracket Olenjolai, because the word of God in Prophet 29, which I believe verse 18 say that if there is no vision, people perish. If in Online Diploma Polytechnic Institute of Tanzania we don't have any visions, we are going to perish ourselves, for the teachers and even our students, for the present and future generation, because this is a generational program. This is the generational institution. Okay? So here the visions, it's an assignment that have been given by my Creator, who is the Lord Himself, who living in me. He asked me to do this assignment, an assignment which I have. I will be teaching, incubating, preparing, training, and even encouraging and lead some group of students who will be ready to take the classroom instruction in engineering and scientific courses, including the fundamental subject, which is mathematics, to combine with the knowledge from the Word of God that is written in the Holy Bible in order to solve real life problems. I know that it sounds like something impossible. Even myself, that was the situations when I hid for the first time for my own life, because now I'm saving you. But I have also my principles and my own purpose for my own life. So one of the purpose that I have in my own life is what I'm telling you. So it means our visions has four main parts that you like every student to understand and every viewer to understand. Number one, we'll be pondering on you to understand the formal instructions. It means that the formal education that you are getting when you go to any college that offer ordinary diploma in engineering or science courses. We'll be pondering on you to help you to understand those instructions and extract knowledge in that education. And the second part now will be also help you to understand the knowledge from the Word of God, which is actual, alive, and powerful. Right? The third part is to combine these two knowledge, which seems like charges in physics, right? It's like charge repair. It's in the world of today, it seems like charges. But I want to tell you that it will be unlike charges, will attract each other. The knowledge from the Word of God attracted the knowledge of the classroom instruction, engineering, and science, because myself, I'm a product of those two knowledge, and I'm applying them every day in my life. And I'm telling you, nothing is impossible when I combine these two knowledges. And the first part now, to solve real life problems, is not to have certificates is one of the specific objectives. But the first one, which is very important in making meaning for you and making your legacy and your contributions, is solving real life problems. I know that it seems like what I'm telling you is a certain story or impossible story, which possibly it has been happening several years ago. I understand that. It might take several months, or it might take maybe some years, but that's not the case. The issue is to achieve our destiny. Well, so we have so many specific objectives, but one of the specific objectives that we have, we like to make sure all our students love the subject of basic engineering and scientific mathematics. Our second specific objective, we like to have all our students to go through the continuous assessment, and also our third specific objective, we like to have our students also to be well prepared for the final exams or university exams, so that they will be out of stress, and now they can spend much time on thinking about how can they apply this knowledge to solve real life problems. But another specific objective is to make sure that you understand the knowledge from the Word of God written in the Holy Bible in a different perspective as God has planned for you to grasp it. So we have so many. Those are some of the specific objectives. Again, in online diploma polytechnic institute, this is a lifetimes, okay, institutions. It is online, it's not physical. In physical school institutions or physical colleges or physical university, you might spend maybe a day, you might spend maybe 2-3 days, or maybe a week, sometimes do registrations. The good news, we don't just discourage that, that's the system they have. The good news, in online diploma polytechnic institute of Tanzania, in square bracket Olenjolai, you just need a minute to accomplish your registrations. How should you register? Just press the buttons of the subscribe, because we're expecting to upload more than 300 videos of basic engineering and scientific mathematics, or different courses or different modules to prepare basic technicians. We are teaching under the National Technical Council National Council for Technical Education. That's the curriculums that we are using. But mathematics and even engineering, basic engineering and scientific mathematics, as one of our departments, is universal. Again, we have another department that called departments of the kingdoms of God, the kingdoms of heaven, when thou will learn the knowledge from the Word of God, just from the fundamental knowledge to advanced knowledge. Okay, so again, we have 2 departments, as I say, currently, but there is an increase of so many departments. You have to keep on praying for me and praying also for the people who are going to help me in this great business. Again, we are going to focus on the module or course that called Fundamental Rule of Counting, Matrices, and the differentiation. This is very interesting. Possibly in your institutions, you don't have a module called in this name. That's not the issue, because these contents are for the national students that studying ordinary diploma in any region or any city of Tanzania, including Unguja and Zanzibar. Because in Unguja, there is Karume Institute of Science and Technology. They can benefit on this program for the rest of their life. Okay, so we have currently in these departments of basic engineering and scientific mathematics, we have an assignment to teach 6 modules or 6 courses. This is the second course. The first one is called the algebra, okay? And the third one is called conics and the differential equation. So this is called the fundamental rules of counting, matrices, and differentiation. And we are in chapter 1, which is titled as factorial, permutation, and combination. And we are in lecture 60 today. So lecture 00 with general introductions of basic engineering and scientific mathematics for NTA level 4 to NTA level 6 is already uploaded to lecture 5. So you see, so if you're watching this as your first video, again, I want to tell you the prerequisite of lecture 60 is lecture 00 to lecture 5. So you have to make sure that you go through it. So again, this according to the NACTE curriculums, these contents have to be covered in the second year in some of the institutions, ordinary diploma institutions, some of the colleges. That's not the issue. For instance, at Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology, DIT, this modules is taught in second year. So the issue, don't worry whether you learn this module or the contents of this module in first year or third year. Don't worry about that. The issue is have you course outlines, okay? Course outlines, and then compare with my online contents. Okay, so I would like to spend a few minutes to link lecture 5 and lecture 6. In lecture 5 and lecture 6, first of all, I did just the correction, if you do remember, corrections of what? Of homework 4. Okay, this is a very serious problem. Again, before you even go to, I think that, okay, so let me just finish this one and then I'll give you a piece of information before I start lecture 6. Excuse me, my voice is not good, is not sounding nicely, but don't worry. This is according to, we are using it intensively, but within a short time, it will be adjusted. So don't worry about that. Okay, so corrections of the homework 4. Then another print that I told you is definitions of what? Of permutation, right? Definition of permutation. Definition of permutation. And then I told you about general formula of what? Of permutation, right? Permutation. Again, I told you about how can you find finding what? Finding permutation of what? Of numbers, let's say permutations of numbers by using scientific calculator, okay? Scientific calculator. And then I taught you problem solving regarding on what we have covered. And we ended in example 14, if you do remember. That's what the homework, which had part A, and part A it was homework 5, which was very simple. And this is the question 17 in the tutorial sheet for the many institutions. Okay, so we had the, and then part B, it's one of the longest question that I did, which was a concept questions. So in case that you want to get too much details, make sure that you go through, because this lecture 5 is still in our YouTube channel that's called Online Diploma Polyinstit of Tanzania. It's called so lecture 5 is called the Introductions of Permutations for Ordinary Diploma into Level 4. Just get into our YouTube channel and then go to lecture 5, and lecture 5, which is written as Introductions of Permutation. So you have to make sure that you go through it. So let us go, before you go to lecture 6, I'll just remind you a couple of the things, right? Number 1, in case you feel from your heart, whether right now or in the middle of these sessions or at the end of the sessions, or maybe even if when you are not taking these sessions, you feel from your heart that you want to offer God your freewilling thanksgiving offering through this program, you are warmly welcome, because we have a very high running costing. And as I told you that right now, we didn't even achieve 100 lectures. We expect to have more than 300 videos. And really it's expensive. We are not just asking you to pay for, it's just you can offer an amount of freewilling thanksgiving in order to support the running cost for this program. But in case that you find, you see that it's unfair, don't worry about that. My God is greater than the running cost for this program. So you may send your freewilling thanksgiving through 07597453 and 31. In case you want to do the bank transaction, read the descriptions below, and then you will see the bank account, the bank name, and some other contents. Again, in Online Diploma Polytechnic Institute of Tanzania, Olenjolai, we have also a library. And this library is providing contents or providing resources that our students will need them when they are learning everything about this stuff. So in departments of basic engineering and scientific mathematics, we do have this scientific calculator, right, which is original one. So we are providing scientific calculator. Go to the description below. You'll see how much does it cost, and you can ship in any regions, in all the 71 regions of the United Republic of Tanzania. It's original. This is Casio, function 991, and then MS. So it's very original scientific calculator. For instance, this one, I've been using it for 3 years. Without any dimension, without any failure. And still doing so many computations, so I don't bother myself when it comes to some of the computation that I have to use a scientific calculator. So later on, we will update also the contents or the resources in our library, or in the library of Online Diploma Polytechnic Institute of Tanzania. So enjoy it. So now let us go to enjoy the beauty of what basic engineering and scientific mathematics. Let me remind you first of all, before I go to today's session. So the first fundamental question is, let me redefine it. What is permutation, right? What is permutation? Okay, so there are different ways that you can define permutation, right? So permutation, we say simply is a way of arranging objects, right? Objects, okay, in a particular order, whereby the order of objects is taken into consideration. So this last word differentiate permutation from what? Combination. Then I told you that the general formula, because I want to teach you how we can apply the concepts of permutation in mathematics. The general formula of permutation, right? General formula of permutation, which I taught you in lecture 5, is I say if you have n permutation R, for instance, this is equal to n factorial over n minus R factorial, right? Against if you have maybe n permutation K, this is equal to what? N factorial, hence you have n minus K factorial. And the concept, and this general formula is a prerequisite of what? Prerequisite of combination. What does it mean that order is taken into consideration? Well, I told you that in permutation, A, B, if you have maybe we are arranging two letters A and B, right? So then when we arrange A and then the next letter is B, this is not equal if we begin with B and then the next letter is A. While in case of combinations, at the same arrangement, right? So this is what I have taught you in general, that you have to bear it. So when it comes now to the permutation of the digits, permutations of the weights, not of the digits, for this level, this is fundamental, as the model says, it has been written fundamental. So we are teaching fundamental stuff. It doesn't mean that this is all about what you know about rule of counting. We know so much, we know a lot. However, that remember that Olenjolai does not know everything about the permutation. I just know small portions, but I'm ready to teach you other people and other students of present and future generations what I know. I'm always learning permutations every day. Okay. So then now let us go to the title of the today's of lecture 60, which is titled as permutation of 40 of words, right? Permutations of words. So this one also you can title as application of 40 of permutation. So one of the applications of permutation is to arrange letters of the words. Okay, so let me just write few information and then we go to the mathematical sound. We say that the number of ways, how can we find the permutation of the words? The number of ways, say number of ways, okay? The number of ways of arranging n objects in a line, right? An object in a line, of which, okay, but I think that before I give you this piece of information, let me tell you this. So, one of application of permutation is to arrange letters of words. Letters of words, right? In particular, order. In particular order. Can be either free order or limited order, right? So we say that now, we got the next sequence. How can you find this number of ways? So number of ways of arranging an object, so many letters or arranging n objects, more than one object, okay, n objects, okay, n objects. So you say that of arranging an object in a line, because we arrange in a line, right? In a line, and then that we say in a line, which is of which P is one type of letters that are alike, and maybe that way. So when some of the words have alike letters, right? So which P is a, I think that let me just categorize in this way. The number of ways of arranging an object in a line, trying to arrange this concept properly, more than what I've prepared. Okay, so the number of ways of arranging n objects or n letters in a line, okay, n letters in a line of the word which does not have repeated letters is this one. So it's given as n factorial. So it means that number of ways, this will be equal to n factorial. Okay. So in case we have a word which does not have repeated letter, any repeated letter, then we use this formula to find number of ways of arranging those words, of arranging that letters. So let me just speak this example. Okay, this will be example 15. Okay, in how many ways can the letters of the word, A, we say that of the word Kusini, no. Yes, Kusema is the one of the words that does not have repeated words, and hence B, so Kusema. Then B for the word of mathematics, and the word diploma. So in how many ways can the letters of the word diploma be arranged? That's the question we have. Okay? So remember that I'm teaching you permutation of word, which we are focusing on how can they arrange by using the general concepts of permutation, where the order is taken into consideration is the letters of the word. So remember that I told you in lecture 1 to lecture 4 about the factorial. So solution for this example 15. So he said that the first step The first step, we say that check if there is what? If there is repeatedly letter or letters in the given words. Right? That's the first step. That's the first step. Okay, so if you check for Roman A, we have the word sema. So how many letters are there? It contains 6 letters, but none of the letter which is that is repeated. When you go to the second step now, we say that count, that's what we are then counting the number of letters as what N. So when we count it, the number of letters for that case is equal to 6. Then we go for the steady state. The steady state, we say now, recall the formula of permutation of words. In case you find that I'm teaching you quickly, you have an option of revising this video several times and watch it even 10 times. Okay? Ways of or number of ways. So we say that number of ways is equal to n factorial. So therefore, for the word A, how many ways will be there? So number of ways from an A. Number of ways, it will be equal to 60 factorial. So you may use your scientific calculator, as I taught you, to find the 60 factorial. So you just press, you set the 60, okay, you set the 60, or you set number 6, and then press shift, then press X factorial. The answer is 720. So that's the answer for Roman A. I believe you are enjoying the beauty of basic engineering and scientific mathematics. Okay? Keep on enjoying. Then we go for the second part. Okay? Then part B. So B we have given against another word. Another word which is what? Diploma. Right? So B gives diploma. Diploma is a level that we are right now. Right? Diploma. So the first step, you can change the first step and the second step. But let us say the first step now. Let us count the number of 40 of letters. The number of letters in the given word. And this number of letters we call N. So then we say N for this case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is equal to 7. Don't care whether it contains repeated letter or not. So N is equal to 7. The second step, we say that check, repeated. I'm writing steps, and this is the style that I used to teach my students for more than 10 years, and it works for them. Because when they review the material, they don't have a lot. They just remember because I've written so. Okay, so we have example 15. Okay, we have example 15 there, which is a very interesting example, and you have to work on it effectively. Okay, so in example 15, part A, we did the first step. I said that we have to check if there's a repeated letters. In this case, I just forgot to write, but no, there's no any repeated letter. So then we just count the number of letters, and then we form the number of ways of arranging. So for part B, we have a word diploma. The first step, we counted the number of letters, which is 7. And then the second step, we check out repeated letters. So is there any repeated letter in the word diploma? No. So there is no repeated letter. So because there is no repeated letter, then we say that we go for the third step. The third step, we say that we have to recall the formula of 40 of permutations of word. Formula of permutation of word. Okay? So what the formula? The formula states that number of ways of arranging letters of the word is equal to n factorial if there is no any repeated letter in the sequence of the word. Right? So therefore we say that the number of ways, because the question is asking us how many ways, so we say that there are, so number of ways, so for this case we say number of ways, this is equal to how many? 7 factorial. So you can use your scientific calculator, compute 7 factorial, which is 7 shifted to this one. Answer is 5,000. This is equal to 5,040. 5,040. Well, mathematics is beautiful. So then now we can write the conclusion of that question. So you'll use this technique for all the questions, or just to permutate the words which do not contain any repeated letter. So therefore, we say that therefore, there are 5,040 ways of arranging the word diploma. That is the first part of permutations of word, which is very interesting, but it's very simple. Let me take you to the second part of permutation, right, of word. And in this second part of permutation of words, now I want to teach you how you can permutate letters of the word which contain repeated letters, right? So you say that permutation of words contain repeatedly letter, either one repeated letter or more than one. Okay? So for this case, we have to be careful. And that's what the principle that I was writing at the beginning. Okay? So we say that the number of ways of arranging n letters of the word, right? N letters of the word, such that, so you say that of which we say that of which one type, of which P is one type. We left just the that repeated letter, of which P represents what? Represent repeated. Represent repeated letters. Okay, and then Q also represents another repeated letter is given as. So the principle is very simple. The formula is very simple because the number of ways, we are finding the number of ways of arranging letters of a word, of which P represent the first represent repeated letter or letters, and Q represents another repeated letter, and even R and etc. depends to the how many repeated letters are there. Okay, so in order to solve that problem, or just to have the formula, So you say that now our general formula for this case will be number of ways, which will be equal to, first of all, the total number of letters in the word, which we call the n factorial. Then we divide by factorial functions of each repeated letter. For instance, in this case, we say that suppose P is a repeated letter or letters, and Q is a repeated letter. So this now, it's a general formula of permutation of the words which contain repeated letter or letters. Right? So don't worry, because we have so many examples to teach you this one. So in case that you have 3 repeated letters, right? So maybe, for example, if you have number of ways, you are looking number of ways, n factorial, then you have 3 repeated letters. The first one we call the P, the second one you can call the Q, the third one you can call the R, maybe the fourth one can call, however that in most cases we find only 3 repeated letters. But in case that you find more than 2, just you divide the factorial of that repeated letter in that way. Interesting? Okay. So now let us go to example. Example 16. In how many ways can letters of the word can letters of these words arranged? Can be arranged. The first word is my name. How many ways can you arrange these 9 letters of my name called the Olenjolai? And then, how many ways that we can arrange the word probability as a topic that you are learning right now. Then this one, it's your quiz. How many ways you can arrange the word permutation? The word permutation. Okay? So interesting. So this is very simple question. Example 16 is a very simple question once you understand the fundamental concept. Otherwise you find that it's a disaster. So solution. And solution, like to start with Roman 1. In how many ways can he arrange the word Olenjolai? Okay, so we follow just the steps that I taught you. The first step, we say that count all the letters of the word Olenjolai. So if you count, you can call them n. How many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have 9 letters. So n is got 9. The second step, we have to identify repeatedly letters. Repeated letters in the word Olenjolai. So the first repeated letter called the formula calculate is equal to P. So O is repeated in Olenjolai. How many times? Twice. So the value of P is equal to 2. Then another letter, L. How about L? L also is repeated. So we call it if Q is equal to 2. So L is what? Repeated. Then check for E. Is E repeated? No. N is repeated? No. J is repeated? No. L is repeated? Okay, we are done with that. A is repeated? No. I is repeated? No. So, for that case, we go for the third step. Okay? The third step, we say that we have to recall the formula of permutation permutation of when? Permutation of a word which contains what you repeatedly with what you is repeated letters. It's repeated letters. Okay. So from there we say that it is number of ways is equal to what? Is equal to n factorial over p factorial then q factorial. So for this case, we say number of ways. We have 9 letters in the word Olenjolai. Then O is repeated twice, so 2 factorial. L is repeated twice, 2 factorial. So number of ways here is equal to 9 factorial, 2 factorial, it is 2, 2 factorial, it is 2, so over 4. So you can use what your scientific calculator as I told. So you see now how the concepts of factorial depends on the concepts of how you can see that you see how the concepts of permutation depends on the factorial. So you have 9 factorial. So 9 factorial, we say this is equal to what? 362, 880. Okay? Then divided by what? By 4. So number of ways is equal to this response over 4. The answer is 90,720. So therefore, we say that number of ways of arranging the word Olenjolai, where others consider is what? 90,720. We're done. Okay. So let us go Roman do. So this is quiz. You can try yourself. We go for the second word. Roman 2. Roman 2. Tell your neighbor that now we are going for Roman 2. Excuse me for my voice box is not okay today, but don't worry, everything is going to be settled. Okay, so if that's the case, you have Roman 2, the word is probability. You have to permutate the word what? Probability. So you follow just the normal step. The first step, we say that find n. It means count the number of letters. So we say that n 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then we go for second step because you know them. So I am writing short. So then the second step we say that identify what? Identify the similar letters. Similar letters. To then find the similar letters, the first group we call it P. So P, we don't mean about these two in the word, but P is the first thing alike. Is P repeated? No. Is R repeated? No. Is O repeated? No. Is B repeated? Yes. How many times? We have 2B. So P is equal to 2. Then we go for Q. Is A repeated? No. Is B repeated? Okay, yeah. Is I repeated? Yes. How many times? Twice. Is L repeated? No. Is T repeated? No. Is Y repeated? No. So then we go for the steady state. In the steady state, you have to recall the formula formula of what? Of permutation of weight. Permutation of weight. So the formula says that number of ways is equal to what? Is equal to n factorial divided by p factorial and q factorial. Okay? So then here we are. Number of ways is equal to what? N factorial. N factorial, n is equal to what? N is equal to 11. So 11 factorial. Over what? Over p. P is 2 factorial. Then we have q, which is 2 factorial. So number of ways, this will make 11 factorial. And denominator we have 4. So we have to use our scientific calculator to find 11 factorial. So just press 11, then shift it, then factorial sign. And then we have divided by 4. So you get the answer is 9 million. We have 9 million ways, 979,200. So therefore, we say that there are 9,979,200 ways of arranging the what? Probability. The letters of the word probability. So then this is the first part. Okay. So after understanding that, now I would like to take you into the next part when we can solve tutorial questions. Okay? With these tutorial questions, we will find some tutorial questions a little bit challenging. Some of them are simple. So you have to be careful. So, right now, okay, we are still enjoying the beauty of basic engineering and scientific mathematics. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you example. Is it example 17? Yeah, example 17. Previous one was example 15. So this one we said that you have to refer to tutorial sheet. Tutorial sheet. Just refer to your sheet. So to your sheet, the sheet which I solved it in the previous lecture, lecture 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is question 9. And the question 9. In how many ways can the following words be arranged in? How many ways? The first way is triangle. The second word is parabola. The third word is soropaga. No, it's history. So you see what I've been teaching you in few minutes ago is actually what you'll be asking exam. I have also a question from one of the past paper, which was the university exams or final exam, and we are going to solve it soon. In how many ways can the following words be arranged? So we say solution. Let's say romance. I'll do two. If this one is your home. So for Roman A, you have a word trying. Say trying. You have a word trying. Okay? So we follow the same steps that I told you. The first step, we say that count the letters of the word. Okay? So that's counting. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So n is equal to 8. And then we have against to check. Second step. Identify. Repeated letters. Okay? And the first repeated letter, we agree that we are going to call it a P. That's not mandatory, we can call it any later. So let us check. Is T repeated? No. Is R repeated? No. Is I repeated? No. Is A repeated? No. Is N repeated? No. Is G repeated? No. Is L repeated? No. Is E repeated? No. So P does not exist. So for the second step now, so simply say that not repeatedly later. So the step we say that we call the formula of number of ways of floating of the word triangle. The word triangle. So for number of ways, this is equal to n factorial. Number of ways is equal to 8 factorial. That's 4. So to find 8 factorial, you just use the scientific calculator. You set 8, shifting, so we say that number of ways of arranging the word triangle are 40,320. Okay? At the response. Then I have Roman 2 hyperbola. Roman hyperbola. Hyperbola is the one of very interesting hyperbola. Very interesting conic section. But you have to master it in mathematics. Hyperbola. So the first step, you see that count the total number of meters. simply say find n. N is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So n is equal to 9. Okay? And then let us, so the second step, identify repeated letters. Repeated letters in the word hyperbolic. Is H repeated? No. Is Y repeated? No. Is P repeated? No. Is E repeated? No. Is R repeated? No. Is B repeated? No. Is O repeated? No. Is L repeated? No. Is A repeated? No. So simply we say that second step, right? So the second step we say that we call formula or 40 of permutation. Permutation of way. So the formula states that number of ways is equal to n factorial. Is equal to n factorial. So we say that the number of ways is equal to n is 9 factorial. So just define 9 factorial, which it is 8 factorial times 9. 362,808. So now the number of ways. Number of ways, 362,808. So once you do the part C, then you are done with example 17. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you into example 18. So let me solve this conceptual question. Which also you have to refer our tutorial, former tutorial sheet. Question 17. Question 17. Okay. The question states that how many ways how many ways or how many permutation, how many permutations can be made. Can be made from the word Shankwavi. How many ways or how many permutations can be made from the word Shankwavi under this condition? If it begins if it begins with C, then with C, and end with I. End with I. So if you give us the word Chankwavi, you have to mention a number of ways, but in every word that you are going to arrange there, should start with C and should end with I. Interesting. Can you try? Remember that the techniques I taught you, once you want to have self-learning of basic engineering instead of mathematics or any subject of mathematics, you need conducive environment, right? You need conducive environment, which will assist you to make sure that you can perform your question. So that's what, so you'll be given the one in Kwavi, then you have to make sure that you mention a number of ways. Solution. Yeah, solution. So you have C as the first letter. So it means that the first step. Okay, first step. Right? Vowel of N. Vowel of N. So here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have P. Okay? So P, we say that before we determine, this is just okay, we have to find P. P is repeated. These are repeated letters. Right? But before you find for P, we have a condition. And the condition that any way that you are going to permutate should start with C. So we say that C should start with C, and also the word should end with A. Okay? C, then goes A. Alright? So then that's the point that you have to make sure. So C and I are fixed. So if they are fixed, they always should be at the beginnings and the end of the word. C and the I. So what did you remain? So here we have a possibility of what? Of having H, of having A, this way. Okay. So so C and I. So this is the example of the word Chankwavi. Right? So because C and I are fixed, so even if also I can write okay. So you say that you have C, H, A, N, K, W, A, V. So for this case, for against another permutation, is C, then H, then K, W, A, V, and I. Okay? So then with this case, we are going only to arrange these letters. Okay? So even here that you find, you just change the position of this. So you have so many permutations, but the point which I wanted you to understand as my beloved students, whom I would like to say that you are loving the beauty of her basic engineering scientific mathematics. You'll be given the word champwavi, then this is the first arrangement, the second arrangement. Okay? So that's a very interesting point. So you say that from this now, perspective 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? So from this now, we say that number of ways now. So n is equal to what? This is h. N is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's no longer 9. 9 is before you consider the given condition. So we have our new n now. It's equal to 7. Again, we say that n is equal to 7. Number of filters are 7. This one, because we have fixed this at the beginnings and the end. Okay. So we have to go for the second step. However, in first step, we did the two concepts. So second step, we say that okay. So second step, we say that identify repeated letters. Repeated letters. So the first repeated letter is P. Okay? First repeated letter is what? Is P. So we have champwavi, this is the word. Is C repeated? No. Is H repeated? No. Is A repeated? Yes. H repeated. So the first vowel of P, the first repeated is A. It's equal to 2. Then M is repeated? No. K is repeated? No. W is repeated? No. A is repeated? Yes. V is repeated? No. I is repeated? No. So then we say that number of ways, right? Number of ways. Okay, so number of ways, we say that n factorial over p factorial. So n factorial is equal to what? 7 factorial. 2 factorial is equal to what? 2 factorial. So you can take your original scientific calculator and compute it. How we do? Take 7 factorial. Okay, so you have 7 factorial. Then divided by 2. Okay. So 7 factorial over 2. 2,520. Number of ways, 2,252. Okay. So number of ways that the response now is repeated what letters. I believe that in joining the field of basic and basic engineering and scientific courses here. Okay. Okay. So that is the answer for that question. Okay, so now I would like just I was trying to go through and see at least what the simplest, what the little bit challenging question. So we don't have the simplest questions at all. So this is example 19. Then I'll take you to example 20, which will be the homework. And this is the question. In how many ways in how many ways in how many ways in how many ways can the what? Tanzania be arranged. So in how many ways can the word Tanzania be arranged? So we say solution, because you can be solving questions with other countries' name. And hence we forgot flowers. So the first step, we say that count it. Count the letters. So the letters, we say that we have N, the word is Tanzania, 9 letters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So N is equal to what? 8. Then we go for the second step. The second step, we say that identify repeated letter. And then 5 repeated letters. And identifies them because you have a formula which is the function P. So P is equal to what? So you have to check. Is T repeated? No. Is A repeated? Yes. How many times? 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So our value of P repeated. Is N repeated? Yes. Plus N can call it T. So I say P is equal to what? So P is equal to 3, Q is equal to 2. Is there any repeated later? Is there repeated? No. Is N repeated? Yeah. So we say the number of ways. Number of ways. In this case, is equal to it. No any condition. Number of ways. Number of ways for this case is equal to n factorial. Just to remind you, p factorial, q factorial. So then here we have number of ways is equal to what? N factorial, we have 8 letters. Dot to 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So P factorial was P to 3. Then we have Q factorial. Okay. So 3 factorial, what the value of Q also, the value of Q also is 2 factorial. Right? So you can simplify by using a scientific calculator. The number of ways is what? The number of ways by using a scientific calculator you can find h factorial over 3 over 2. No, 3 factorial firstly. The number of ways is what? The number of ways is what? So we have 3 factorial 2 shift to factorial Okay, so the number of ways, so we say that there we have 12. The number of ways is what? 3 factorial equal to 6 times 2 factorial is equal to 12 times what? 12. Okay, so you said the number of ways for that case will be 3 factorial, excuse me, times 2, and then you have to take 8 factorial, 50 factorial, divided by this. The answer is 3,360. Wow, I believe that you've understood everything that I told you. In case you didn't understand, don't hesitate yourself. Ask in the comment section. As online students have understood that concept, and all me myself, I'll be there to try my level best to answer your question. Okay? So that's the case. So now, this is example 18, if I'm not mistaken. (15, 16, 17, 18, 19). So this is homework. Homework 6. Find the number of permutation of the letters of the word Tendulka. Find the number of permutations of the letters of the word Tendulka in each of the following. In each of the following cases. In one case, beginning with T, with T, and ending with R. Ending with R. Vowels are always together. Vowels are always together. Last Roman, vowels are never together. So make sure that you do this homework, okay? Faithful, try your level best to do it on your own hands, and then submit your solution in the comment sections below here, so that some other students who are in the world can review your work, or even myself, I can review your work before we meet in the next lecture, which will be lecture 7. And this is the end of all the concepts concerning about permutation. But yeah, I had one question. I had one question. I want to show you. So this is the example print homework 06. This is example print. Refer. I think God will remind me. DIT final exam in a certain year. And this is question of section B. So the questions of section B. So this is the past paper. because I told you that this is another reference material that you are going to refer, right? So this is the past paper. So let me move from down. I believe that you can read now. So we have to solve this question. It was question number 1. Question number 1. Not the final. It is not the final. It is DIT test 1. From an A and B. So when A asks you find the value, find the value of n, because I have to show you that what we are learning, you have to expect an exam. If n plus 1 times n minus 1 times n, so this is n minus 1 total is equal to 6. If you do it this way, this is 4 marks. Then have B. Find the number of arrangement. Find the number of arrangements. Arrangement that can be made. That can be made out of the word assassination. Assassination. And if you do that great work, you have 4 marks. So if you do Roman A and B, then you have how many marks? 8 marks. You're pushing 8 marks. So this is the end of lecture 6. I thank God who have created me in his image and likeness. I thank God who have taught me and gave me a gift of teaching. I thank God who have given me this interesting and worldwide idea of teaching millions of the students by the internet. And I thank God who have given you a chance to listen and hear me or follow my session from the beginning to the end. I would like to ask you that may God bless you abundantly and stay tuned. Let us meet in the lecture 7. In lecture 7, I'm going to teach you about combinations, the introductions, about how you can find combinations by using the scientific operator, and later on we'll go to the word or problem solving. So don't get disappointed, just to keep on focusing. And also, in case you're parents who are watching me right now, then make sure that you share these contents or share that the contents that I'm discussing right now worldwide. So may God bless you abundantly. I remind you again to make sure that because we are going to upload more than 300 videos in this online school, then they will ask you that to subscribe so you get notifications once you subscribe. So may God bless you abundantly and meet with you in the lecture 7. May God bless you over and over.